Bees are dying at an alarming rate, as you can see by the one here. Into princesses. I'm CN2's Alexandria Savage. 8,200 students returned to school here in Clover before you even had your first cup of coffee. Today is just the first step, and tomorrow the conference will be in full swing. Here in Clover, love for their town is what motivates volunteer firefighters. Players and coaches raised a little more than $22,000 in less than 5 days. Clover police are confirming that they found a body here at the open air flea market in Clover, and it was actually inside of the wall. We have it confirmed from family members that the deceased is William Eddie Powers, who had been missing since May 25th. Authorities on scene spent hours taking that wall apart. Family members standing by say Powers had been in some trouble before, but it was unlike him to disappear, so they knew something was wrong. Owner of the flea market, David Bowles, says they reported a break-in on the 26th of May, and since that time he'd noticed a smell that had only gotten worse.
We'd used every chemical we could think of to try to neutralize it. And we determined we was going to go in the wall and see what it was and remove it. And when we cut it open, we first found shoes and, bloody socks.
Family members of Powers on scene say that Powers' truck was found around the corner last week. Now the owner of the flea market here says he's not sure how Powers actually ended up inside of the wall. Here in Clover, Alexandria Savage, CN2 News. Before the sun is in the sky and a creature is stirring, Gloria Pecora is preparing her children for a fairy tale day.
It's hard getting up this early, isn't it? Is it hard, sweetheart? No, we're still asleep. Do you remember where you put your shoes?
And just like taking a page out of a storybook, Gloria, who's Australian, married her American prince.
And we met in Croatia, actually.
And had 2 children before coming to America.
I have a fussy 5-year-old who won't eat the school lunches.
While every day may not be a fairy tale,
we have about 20 minutes before we're meant to leave, and she's refusing politely. No thank you is what I got this morning.
Gloria says this is just part of her story.
Sometimes you just got to do what you've got to do. Are you my princess? Oh, I love you too, sweetheart.
After dropping her daughter off at school, Gloria heads here to Tiaras and Tales, where she transforms into a fairy godmother in under an hour.
That's what I am. I want to welcome the kids, I want to love them and play that role and make their dreams come true.
At Tiaras and Tales, boys and girls get to dress up like royalty with rhinestones and have a tea party with Gloria and her fairy friend.
You need to know how to hold it.
Oh, like this?
Like that, and that's right.
It's like I get to live the storybooks, the fairy tales that I was reading to kids at work. There's something special about getting to teach as a fairy. That's magical.
But who doesn't need a bit of fairy tale magic in their day? A bit of sprinkling of fairy dust?
You got to have a little magic already in you. And I think most people have a little magic, in them.
Sharing imagination through storytelling and costumes.
We've got so many instances of bullying these days and just really harsh things happening in the schools. If 1 or 2 kids can walk out of here saying, I'm going to be kind and thoughtful and true, then we've done our job.
Playing her role as part fairy and part mother, Gloria is always ready to give children in our area their daily dose of
happily ever after.
In York County, Alexandria Savage, CN2 News.
She was just a great girl, a heart for service, and she'll be missed terribly.
A friend of Carson's from the Peach Stand, where she had worked for more than 2 years, put this event together even though she had never met Carson's family, and the turnout was in the hundreds.
The crowd looked huge and more people were coming, and it was just great having the support of the community.
Organizers say even though Fort Mill is growing by leaps and bounds, things like this remind us that we are still a small town. Carson's mother, Debbie, putting on a brave face. It was her first time back to the Peach Stand since the night her daughter was killed.
She looks just like me. She's my twin. The only difference is blonde hair and blue eyes and fair skin. But other than that, we both have the right dimple. She's my twin.
Shelby Hinnant says Carson, or Killer K as her friends called her fondly, was her person and had been since 6th grade.
We text every day. I was talking to her the day of until 4:15.
Carson's pastor said he texted Carson that day as well after seeing a tweet.
I texted Carson. I said, what's going on at the Peach Stand? I saw that there's police presence, and as soon as I had sent that text, Debbie, Carson's mom, she called me and said, come down to the Peach Stand.
Carson's mother's next words to him, he says he'll never forget.
I don't know how I can do this. She was my best friend, and mine to her were we're going to do it together. We're going to do it one day at a time, and we're going to do it with Jesus.
Debbie says the days to come are going to be challenging for them, but to keep the family in your prayers.
The world is a better place for her having been in it. It's unfortunate that her life was cut short and we won't get to see what else that she could have accomplished.
Debbie says she wants people to remember who her daughter was and the light she was to those around her, rather than the terrible tragedy that ended her story so abruptly. In Fort Mill, Alexandria Savage, CN2 News.